The frozen silence of Everest's Rongbuk Glacier holds stories within its ice stories that surface reluctantly, piece by piece, over decades. In a recent expedition, a team led by professional climber and filmmaker Jimmy Chin made a discovery that sent shockwaves through the mountaineering world. Remnants belonging to Sandy Irvine, the young climber who vanished with George Mallory in 1924. While National Geographic reported the find, the full narrative remains locked within the glacial expanse, shrouded in unanswered questions and strategic omissions. The official account tells of a boot, a sock labeled AC Irvine, and a 1933 oxygen bottle, all emerging from the ice near the glacier's snout. Yet, the very setting of the discovery photo raises immediate suspicion. This suggests the remains were found far lower on the glacier, possibly miles downstream from where Irvine originally fell. The condition of the artifacts tells another hidden tale. Chin described the boot as having just melted out, but its appearance desiccated, sun-bleached, and weathered speaks of prolonged exposure. How long had it been lying there? The reflection in Chin's sunglasses, revealing his crew and distinctive jagged peaks in the distance, offers a geographical clue for those who know the terrain. It hints at a specific, calculated location, one potentially chosen to obscure the true discovery site and protect a future exclusive narrative. This is more than a historical footnote. It is a glacial detective story. The Rongbuk Glacier moves slowly, carrying its frozen cargo downhill over centuries. The presence of a 1933 oxygen bottle in the same vicinity is a critical piece of temporal evidence. British expeditions of that era carried oxygen cylinders but did not use them at high altitude. If such a bottle fell from the North Col, its journey down the glacier provides a clock against which to measure Irvine's own glacial descent. The very location of these finds suggests a hidden history of movement, both natural and possibly man-made, that National Geographic's report only begins to hint at. To understand the mystery of Irvine's remains, one must become a student of the glacier itself. The Rongbuk is not a static graveyard but a slow, relentless river of ice. Historical estimates suggest it moves between 30 to 100 meters per year, a pace that turns geography into a timeline. Consider the 1933 oxygen bottle. If it fell from the North Col around the time of that expedition, its 86-year journey to 2024 could have spanned anywhere from 2.6 to 8.6 kilometers, 1.6 to 5.3 miles, depending on glacial speed. This range creates a vast zone of possibility. Now, overlay the path of Sandy Irvine's hypothetical remains. If his body fell from the high slopes near Mallory's 1999 discovery site or from the vicinity of the Great Couloir, its trajectory down the mountain would funnel into the same glacial conveyor belt. This glacial calculus forces a confrontation with an even more provocative question. When did Irvine's remains actually arrive at the base of the North Face? Mountaineering history is punctuated with eerie sightings. Chinese climbers reported seeing an English dead in 1960 and 1965. In 1975, climber Pan Duo spoke of finding a body and a camera, claiming the film was ruined during development. Most compellingly, in 1995, Sherpa Chiring Dorje encountered a body at an altitude too high to be Mallory, almost certainly Irvine. He returned later but could not find it again. These sightings create a haunting chronology. The body was seen, then it was gone. This leads to a disturbing and widely speculated theory, passed among veteran Himalayan historians, that Chinese authorities, perhaps seeking to clear a climbing route or remove a sensitive historical artifact, had the body deliberately removed or thrown off the mountain sometime after 1995. If true, Irvine's remains did not make a century-long, natural journey down the glacier. Instead, they were violently relocated, their fragments beginning a much shorter, more recent glacial voyage from a new, unknown starting point. The discovery of a desiccated boot low on the glacier may not mark the end of a 100-year journey, but the beginning of a much more recent and politically charged mystery. The human element of this discovery arrived via a satellite phone call to Julie Summers, Sandy Irvine's great-niece and biographer. The caller was Jimmy Chin, speaking from Kathmandu, his voice carrying the weight of the find. He began casually, mentioning a 1933 oxygen bottle. Summers, intrigued, listened. Then came the boot. An old boot, a boot compared to Mallory's. Finally, the reveal. A sock with the label AC Irvine. For Summers and the Irvine family, the emotional impact was profound. She describes the moment not as macabre, but as a thrilling piece of archaeological closure. The foot and boot were not a ghastly remnant but a tangible connection to a legend, a puzzle piece finally fitting into place after a century. This personal resolution, however, stands in stark contrast to the tightly managed public narrative. Summers concluded that this discovery disproved theories like those in Mark Sinnott's book The Third Pole about the Chinese removing Irvine's body. Her reasoning: if parts of him were found on the glacier, he must have come down naturally. Yet, this overlooks the alternative theory that the body was thrown down, not carefully preserved. Looking forward, the future of this mystery rests in a delicate and restricted landscape. The Chinese government holds ultimate authority over the north side of Everest. Any future forensic or archaeological search on the Rongbuk Glacier will require their permission and oversight. Will they allow a comprehensive sweep of the glacial moraine? Or will access remain limited, ensuring that any further discoveries happen under controlled, exclusive circumstances? For now, the chapter written by National Geographic feels less like a conclusion and more like a prologue. The full interview with Julie Summers, the unedited geographical data, the complete analysis of the site, these remain in the vault, fueling anticipation for the next cinematic release. The story of Mallory and Irvine has always been a blend of heroism, tragedy, and enigma. The revelation of Irvine's remains hasn't simplified that story. It has deepened the mystery, proving that even a century later, Everest is still reluctant to surrender all its secrets. The glacier continues to move, and with it, the promise that more clues and more questions will eventually emerge into the light.